welcome back here to the Central PA Pour. And again, full house. We're sharing screens. Off to Dave and I's left, your right as you're looking at it. Mr. Ben, Mr. Kevin, back in studio with us, not traveling right now.
Tomorrow. Wisconsin.
And then Dave is off to my right, your left as you're looking at it. And I am Brett. And as we're recording this today, so May the 4th be with you. And I hear it's your birthday, Dave.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Happy birthday, Dave.
Happy birthday.
Thank
so
you.
Are you a Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, or are you a Luke Skywalker fan or a Han Solo fan?
He looks like a Princess Leia to me.
Oh, a Princess Leia.
He's a little cute little fella there.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of hers.
No, wait,
you know?
we got the head. Help me, Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
Help me, Obi-Wan.
We don't have the muffins on her ears like she.
Oh, we
did.
do. We had muffins on her ear.
Yeah, I'm a fan of hers though.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I'm 39 today.
39.
Yep.
Is that backwards?
So.
You knew that was coming, Dave.
Wait a minute. No longer are we going to be hearing Ben. I'm sorry. All right.
Anyways, give us a like and subscribe wherever you get your audio platforms, on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok when we get back active at it. Give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube as well. It helps us. And check us out on the Hopped Up Network, who is a platform for all us podcasters talking about the craft industry. So give the Hopped Up Network a look and listen. We have a special guest in here. We are going to step outside the boundaries of central Pennsylvania again. So we are going to welcome Mr. Chris Lehner from
Nepenthe Brewing.
And the only reason I knew how to say it is because I asked you before we sat down.
No one ever gets it right, so don't worry about it.
So tell us a little bit about you and Nepenthe, brewing. How did it come about?
So Nepenthe started in 2013 as a homebrew shop, and from there it's just kind of escalated into a full-blown brewery now with a restaurant. The homebrew shop's no longer around just because we need the space at this point. So we've been a full operational brewery since 2019. I joined them at the end of 2022. Brought in as a sales rep, and I've now been promoted. I now run sales and operations throughout the brewery. We distribute throughout Maryland, D.C., Virginia, Pennsylvania now, and we're launching Delaware here at some point. We've had shipments sent over to Europe, Thailand.
Wow.
We're supposed to have a deal ready to go for China, but we know where the state of the world is right now, so that's on hold. But yeah, so we're just plugging away and growing little bit by little bit every year.
That's awesome.
How do you get those overseas, just knowing people?
A lot of it has to do with when we go out to festivals and stuff. So when my boss went out to the Great American Beer Festival out in Colorado, he had met a guy who sent stuff over to Thailand, so they're interested in our stuff. And then I just happened to be reached out through one of my friends. He worked for Adroit Theory for a bit, and he put us in contact with a distributor in Europe. So we sent over a Europe shipment a couple years ago. So we've always looking out for places to send our beer.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So how did you get to Nepenthe?
So I was, for the longest time, a government contractor. I actually have a degree in geography and made maps for a living. And then I decided I was kind of bored just being home every evening. So I went and got a part-time job at a local liquor store. And it was one of the bigger beer departments in the state of Maryland. And then the timing just happened to be that the beer manager there was leaving and my government contract was running out. So I joined there full-time and took over the department. Did that for about a year and a half or so, and the retail side got to me a little bit. It's busy, dealing with people all the time and all that kind of stuff. So then I knew one of the owners at Nepenthe, and I saw that they had an opening, so I just went from there, and I had the job in a couple of days. So I went from the retail side to the brewing side, which is much more enjoyable than being on the retail side for sure.
And do you have an aspiration to become a brewer?
No, not at all.
You just like doing the R&D on it, right?
Yeah, I mean that's always a fun part. I jump in and get on the canning line here and there. But no aspirations to be a brewer. It's they've tried to explain this stuff to me, and I don't understand one bit of it. You know, with all the science and stuff behind it, it's beyond me. So I'm content with where I am, and getting to go out and visit accounts sometimes, and helping with the day-to-day at the brewery, and going to visit breweries and setting up collabs and that type of stuff. So that's more of my speed.
Well, I dabble in home brewing as well, and I don't know shit about it either. So, and we also podcast about it, and we don't know shit about that either. So,
well, it's always evolving. You know, we're always coming up with new things, and you know, our other owner, he heads operations and production, and he's the head brewmaster for the most part, but he doesn't do as much brewing as he used to. But he's always trying new experimental stuff as well. So things are always evolving, and we try to keep up with the trends the best we can, but we also like to do our things as well.
Right. So you said it was a home brew shop, which they're becoming a rarity.
Correct.
There are not many around anymore.
Yep.
Did they see what made them transition from home brew to opening a brewery, then closing the home brew shop?
So the home brew shop used to be in a different location in Baltimore, and it flooded out twice, so they moved it up the hill to where our current location is. They opened up. It was a real small. I think they had a couple 20-barrel tanks when they started. But we're seeing, at least in Baltimore, not as many people doing home brewing. So the business just wasn't quite there, and the brewery itself was picking up with. They just started getting into distribution in the restaurant and stuff like that. And so when we expanded the brewery and needed more tank space and places to store grain and all that kind of stuff, the home brew shop became our offices and where we keep some of our grain and stuff like that. So it was just a matter of timing of not keeping it.
And I see it. I mean, it's hard for a small independent shop of any kind to compete with online ordering.
For sure.
So
yeah, I mean, we obviously do all of our ordering online. But yeah, I mean, I think it just got to the point of they just saw the decline in it and stuff, and then, but you know, with the way the brewery's grown over the past 6 years, it's just
they picked the right path.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, we have a couple beers that you brought with us, brought with you. Mm-hmm. What is the first one here?
So Space Jellyfish is our core 7% hazy IPA. It's our top selling beer. It's our flagship IPA.
And I do like the can art.
Yeah, Metroid. So you know, we have a guy named Mike Moses. He's a tattoo artist in Columbus, Ohio, who does all of our artwork. So people know our artwork because it's consistent, and he just comes up with some awesome labels. But yeah, this is based on Metroid loosely, and a lot of our can art is geared towards video games, and we've got some cans with like Nicolas Cage on it and stuff like that. But we also give our artists just free reign to kind of do whatever he kind of wants. But this has been, I think, our longest running beer, or the one that they kind of set out before my time to be our flagship IPA.
All right. So here's to Space Jellyfish. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. I like the smell.
I'm getting a little bit of a citrus grapefruit note.
Yep.
It's very hazy and smooth. It's got a little creaminess to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we found 7% too is the right ABV for core. You know, most of our IPAs around the 6-7% range. Most of our doubles run in the 8 to 8.5 range, and then we'll do some sessions too. We actually do a session version of this called Jellyfish Hatchlings, a 4.3% or 4.8 session IPA of this. We this time of year we brew a decent amount. I think we've got some more in the tanks now. And then we'll do a double version of this and a triple version of this sometimes as well.
Oh, triple yet?
Yeah.
Now, because it's a triple, is that tripling the grain bill, or is it like you're upping the process of it?
I believe they're upping the process of it. Yeah. So the ABV will jump from 7 to about 10. We've only done that like once though. It's just called Jellyfish Huntress. But we only do that in special occasions. We're finding triple IPAs are slowing down a little bit in the market.
Yep.
Yeah, especially in the tap room because we only sell them in 10-ounce pours, so it takes a little bit more time, obviously, to get through them. But we'll do it normally for like our anniversary or something like that. We'll break out some of the big hitters.
The big hitters.
Big hitters, yeah.
You know what's interesting is the higher ABVs that we're hearing here, because everybody has their little niche.
Yeah.
Our last guest was what, 4 to 6 maybe.
like 5-6%, and they were like they're heavy hitters. I'm like,
No.
because when they say when they talked about their higher ABVs, we're looking at each other like, because we're thinking 10 to 15. That's because we're thinking what we like, the barrel aged stouts.
Yes,
But
sir. Yep.
But it was great beer.
it was good beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this. It's almost like a quick flow of different tastes, and then it just dries and stops.
I'm kind of glad because the IPA my first IPA that I just brewed and put on tap, it's got a very similar profile.
Yeah.
So it's a good comparison for me to see that I hit my mark. So that's good.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. Do you dry hop this any?
Yeah, all of our beers always dry hopped. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We dry hop our lagers. We do a lot of dry hopping.
All right, good. Go for the gusto. Good. He wants to ask me what do I think, because I primarily am not a IPA connoisseur.
Yeah.
And I'll drink it. I'll taste it, and you could tell the difference of a good IPA and one that they just hop the shit out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that might be the next one because that's a West Coast.
It's a
we're
West
gonna
Coast.
Get into.
It's dry hop, but it's so with this one it's a 5.5%. It's become one of our top selling beers for sure. But being in that range of only 5.5%, it's not going to be as piney and malty as a lot of West Coast. We wanted to make it very approachable to everybody, and it's a little bit more on the session side. We do a double version of this called Pyromancer. It's more of your classic West Coast piney thing. We actually just put some of that in the tank, and that should be available at the end of the month. But yeah, so this is, especially this time of year, being a lighter side and being hot outside, it drinks really smooth and easy.
But where did the name come from?
I was just going to say.
Did I beat you to it?
So
okay. That's
so the
good.
Nepenthe is so one of our owner was a former high school English teacher. So it's taken from Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven. So obviously Edgar Allan Poe is from Baltimore. So Nepenthe is a elixir that takes away your daily sorrows. So it's very nondescript reference to Baltimore without being like we're from Baltimore type thing. So so it's from The Raven.
Got you.
That
Wow.
totally threw me off.
Yeah.
Because back earlier when you were talking like the video game, I'm looking at your shirt,
Yeah.
and I thought there was some type of a reference to that.
No, I mean, if you go into our brewery, we've got a bunch of the artwork up on our walls and stuff. But if you go down to our offices and you see the display case of one of our owners, it's all Marvel stuff and video game stuff of figurines and stuff like that. So there's a lot of mixing of tattooing and stuff like that. And
Ben, right up your alley.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I always see this in the
I don't hear you.
servers,
Yeah.
and it always catches my eye because of the artwork. It's very interesting.
And that's the one thing is when we, ever since they've started canning stuff, again, before my time, but they've always used the same artist. And, in the market nowadays, you need something to kind of stand out and work because you want people to know it's your brand. And people definitely know this is our brand when they see the artwork.
Yeah,
I think it makes it, especially as you're going through different states.
Yeah.
You're walking by, you don't know what it is. And,
Yeah.
oh, that looks pretty cool.
A lot of people buy just based on the can art. I mean, I've been guilty of it myself. Something looks cool.
We used to
give
do
it a
that
shot.
in the beginning.
When we started this little venture, can art was a popular thing, and because it's an avenue for a brewery to help a local artist out to get their name out there, and it's pretty cheap on the brewer side to get that art to be put on their cans. And it is. It's engaging.
Yeah.
And eye catching.
I think that's probably the two hardest things: the can art and the name of the beer.
Yeah.
Because making it, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's enjoyable. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And to me, there's pressure. You come up with names in like seconds, and I'm like, God dang, how do you do that?
Not seconds. I research.
Yeah, so most of the time we will. Every once in a while, we do have a name for a beer that we kick around. Like, all right, and we'll approach our artist, but we want to give him free reign to kind of be himself and do whatever. But most of the time, we'll just tell him we need some labels, and sometimes give him a theme, sometimes not. Sometimes we just say draw something for us, and then when we get the artwork back, we'll name it based on kind of what the artwork is.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I try and think of old English names because that's what I'm brewing is a lot of English style beers.
Okay.
So I try and think of Old English, and then I'll go to Untapped and type in the name.
And it's 50 times in there, right? Yeah.
Nope, that's too many.
Yep. We run the same issue too, and
ChatGPT.
yeah, I mean we've gotten the artwork back, and we'll sit there and have like, all right, we got to come up with the name of this beer by Friday because it's getting released, and I have trouble with it, you know. Jill, who's one of our owners as well, she handles all of our marketing and social media stuff, and she's really good about coming up with names. But so is Brian, our other owner. So they primarily come up with the names for our beer for sure.
I know my wife said, I think that'd be a cool job. So I think I talked about this in one of the episodes, is I had brewed a beer and we brewed a kit cider for her. So you got 2 names to come up with. I said,
It's harder than you think.
You want.
Yeah, it's tough.
So a little over 3 years into it, what are some of the things that you enjoy? And then obviously you're still learning because everybody learns every day.
Yeah.
But, what's exciting to you?
I like just getting out and meeting people and seeing the different trends. You know, we're known for like our hazy IPAs and such, but at least we're seeing, at least down in Maryland, a trend back to cleaner, simple beers like lagers, West Coast IPAs, which we're more than happy to brew. I mean, we're one of the few breweries in the state that we've got 2 20-barrel lagering tanks, so we really enjoy doing a lot of lagers and pilsners and stuff like that. So just seeing the trends go back and forth, and then obviously getting out and about, and I enjoy going to other breweries and meeting them and doing festivals and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm learning something every day. I mean, the business just changes. It could be going one way one day, and the next day it's pivots and you're doing something else. And it's a lot of thinking on the fly. Yeah, for sure. So it definitely keeps us on our toes.
Just to stay with the times, you got to really, like you said, stay on your toes.
Yeah, because the market's always shifting. We did like a lot of 16-ounce cans and stuff like that, but now we've kind of scaled back, and all of our core beers and lagers, pilsners, anything we release are 12-ounce cans now. We're seeing a trend, at least in Maryland, 12-ounce cans are more popular, but in Pennsylvania and Virginia, they prefer the 16-ounce cans. Yeah. So it's like us trying to figure out the best and navigate all this.
And no, I think even right now, currently, the majority is 16-ounce, but I have starting to see the trend of the 12-ounce cans coming into play.
Yes.
I prefer the 12-ounce myself.
It's cutting cost a little bit on both the brewer side and the consumer side.
Correct.
Because if you buy a 16-ounce can, it takes you almost a pour and a half to finish the can.
Yeah.
And you don't want to waste the beer.
No.
So,
no, and a lot of people who want craft beer, too, we're also finding that they don't necessarily, a 16-ounce beer can be intimidating to them, and they just want to grab a 12 or 12-ounce can of something, Oh,
I remember back in the day, 16-ounce cans were the great ones. You puncture the bottom.
Yeah, shuck on that thing. Yeah.
And shotgun the shit out of that thing.
Yeah. We'll generally do like 3 or 4 16-ounce cans a month. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, depends. But that's always going to be like our IPAs or sours that we do, or if we do a stout. But like I said, the lagers and pilsners we do, or any kind of ale, like amber ale or something like that, will be in a 12-ounce can.
Yeah. All right, so we have another beer here. You had already alluded to it just a bit ago, so we're going to re-allude to it again. So tell us, it's a West Coast IPA.
5.5% Cryomancer. It's one of our core beers, so available year-round.
Cool can art again.
Yeah.
Awesome can art.
Yeah. Cool
I don't know what it is. Some kind of dragon?
Yeah, some kind of dragon. But it's one of our older labels as well. So we just converted. So right before I started, they had just switched over to 12-ounce cans for core beers. So everything for the longest time. So when I was at my retail job, whenever they'd bring beer to us, everything was in a 16-ounce can. And then, we pivoted a little bit during COVID and stuff like that. Got our canning line actually like a week before COVID shut everything down. So that saved the brewery like big time. But yeah, so we're finding a trend, like I said, and a lot of breweries too, going to 12-ounce cans with stuff. So so this is Cryomancer.
And one of the things I do like the can art, and I would like to get a couple of pictures of it.
Of course.
I want to make sure that I say that to Ben before he smashes them into his forehead.
Or you think I'm in college still?
I don't know. I just figured
I never even went.
That might be a thing to do for you. I don't know. I just thought, but I would like to get some pictures of that. It is gorgeous can art.
It is. It's cool can art. So cheers to Cryomancer. You know what? That is kind of smooth for a West Coast.
Yeah.
It's not overly hoppy at all.
No, we definitely wanted to make it approachable.
It is.
Yeah.
It's almost crushable.
Yeah. And especially only 5.5%. It's I've been known to put down quite a bit. I mean, it goes down so easy.
This could be a shower beer.
There you go.
Lawnmower beer.
That's actually it's crisp and smooth at the same time. Clean. It's got a nice clear finish, if you can see. Yeah, it's definitely very good.
That is.
Dave, thoughts?
I have good thoughts about it.
Because you caught us off guard in the one episode.
Yes.
You were like, "Ooh, that was good." I'm like, "What?"
It was a good beer, and I enjoyed the taste of it. It is not quite as hoppy as the last beer that we had, so that's one of the big points in his favor for me.
Yeah.
Now everybody's taste is different because I've had people say, you didn't
good.
like that," and I would say, "No, I didn't like it." But what can you say? There's a lot of people that don't like the barrel aged, the stouts, or the porters, and
No.
and I understand it. They say, and a lot of times they look at it and they says, "Are you drinking chocolate milk or something?" I mean,
I get the. It looks like motor oil.
motor oil.
It's
Yeah,
good stuff. I love barrel aged stuff.
I love barrel aged, but
What'd you think?
it is a good beer.
Thank you.
What'd you think?
I actually like it.
Yeah.
It's very enjoyable, smooth. I can taste the pine behind it still.
Yeah,
a
but
little
bit
it's
of
not
pine note,
overpowering.
but-
Yeah.
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 But it's not, like you just said, it's not an overpowering West Coast. Because normally when you think of a true style West Coast, it's almost like you're chewing on the hop.
Yeah, and we definitely have beers like that for sure. Pyromancer was the double version of this, definitely more like that. It definitely pours more amber in color. And during the fall, we release, it's usually around Thanksgiving every year, we do a beer called Grim Tidings. It's a red West Coast IPA with spruce tips. So
A red one?
Red one, yeah.
I tell you what, red IPAs, I actually brewed one.
Yeah.
Desperate Times. And the reason I got that idea because it's unusual. You don't see
No.
red IPAs too often. Desperate Times up in Carlisle did one. I think Vortex down in New Freedom does one. And I thought it was interesting. And I compared mine to the first one I had from Desperate Times. I think they use a different hop profile, but palate was about the same.
Yeah.
And that's a style. And you talked about some of the trends.
Yep.
And I don't think we were just talking about that recently, even on our wrap up
We
about
were.
some of the trends with the smoothie type sours have depleted.
Yeah, we don't brew those.
You don't see as many of them, and that was a trend.
Yeah.
I think some of the trends are coming back are going to be true to style. Ales and stuff are going to
Ales.
start making a comeback.
Definitely. I mean, we've got our 2 20-barrel lagering tanks, and they're always full with something. We just put in Enchantrix, which is a West Coast Pilsner. So that's going to be in there for a bit. So most of our lagers take 5-6 weeks to kind of make. Even Mallard, our core light lager, spends time in the lagering tanks. We don't cut corners on any of our lagers.
And we've heard that before with like the lighter lagers and pilsners. There's no room for screw ups.
No.
Somebody, it will definitely show its face
It will
pretty
show.
quick.
It will show. And the good thing about the lagering tanks, we can let the beer sit in there for as long as we want. If it's not tasting right, it will sit in there longer. So we definitely don't cut corners on any of our lagers, and we're always trying new things. But yeah,
And you said how many? It's a 20 barrel.
two of them.
Two of them.
Two 20-barrel tanks. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that what's that wooden vessel? The looter or what?
I know what you're talking about. We don't have any of those.
We started talking about that early on. It was like, what the hell is that? And then we
Footer.
were
A
even
footer.
pronouncing it.
Footer.
Footer.
We were even pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, you don't see too many breweries doing that stuff anymore either. It was a trend for a while, but I don't think it's.
I think it's this whole thing is as a trend.
Yeah.
We've seen the spike in the craft brew industry where breweries were popping up left and right.
Yep.
And I think it's peaked a little bit. The better ones are going to sustain and maintain, where the ones that were home brewers and wanted a brick and mortar and they don't have a good business plan are not going to withstand it.
Right. Yeah. No, we're seeing that in Maryland too. We know kind of like which breweries are viable. And then you see you'll see new breweries in Maryland pop up here and there, but then you also, for every one that opens, we get like 2 or 3 that seem to be closing.
And I noticed on your website, you were voted best brewery food in Baltimore?
Yeah, we got a full restaurant. We've won best brewery, best restaurant in Maryland. We're actually one of the busiest restaurants in Baltimore right now. I was actually at the brewery last night and we were slammed. But yeah, I mean we're known also for our vegan food. We routinely get voted like best vegan food in Baltimore.
Decent.
But yeah, we've got a full liquor license as well, so we do a bunch of cocktails and wine and stuff like that. But yeah, the food is outstanding.
Well, and speaking of that, with a Pennsylvania license up here, and it depends. There's different from the Liquor Control Board.
Yeah.
Like if somebody wants to open a brewery here and they get this, it has to be a Pennsylvania spirit. Is that the same in Maryland, or is Maryland a little different?
We can have whatever we want in there.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't, and I don't know if there's different levels because it differs from state to state with their liquor license.
No, but I know our bar manager tries to buy as much local product as possible, which is great. But no, we're not. We don't have to buy just Maryland only. So because we'll bring in cans of like ciders and non-alcoholic beers and stuff like that, and you know obviously all the liquor and wine, but we only bring in. I think we bring some bourbon from local Baltimore places and maybe some gin and stuff like that. But that's not my thing there. So. But yeah, we try to support local as much as possible, but we can.
I
get
think
from anywhere.
that's what the craft industry has done time and time again. That's a similar story that we hear from all of our guests. Is it's more of a community, and you try and support each other.
It's important.
We do. I mean, I go out and visit a lot of the local breweries who I like. I was just out at Cushwall Brewing last weekend, I believe. Great guys there. We're gonna probably do another collab with them. Probably June, July. We just did one for I think they just had their 7th anniversary. We brewed a beer with them, but they're now up in Pennsylvania as well with the same distributor as us. But there's some breweries around the state that we've done beers with who we remain friendly with and stuff like that. But it is a tight knit community for sure. Yeah.
And you had mentioned festivals. So
Yes.
is that? I know you do distribution as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is festivals another good avenue for you to get the word out about Nepenthe?
Oh, for sure. We're actually doing one this Saturday coming up in Frederick, Maryland. So they do the Maryland Beer Association. I think it's called BAM or something. So they do one one a year. So there's a couple in Baltimore. There's one in Virginia we're going to be doing soon. But yeah, that's just another way to get out there and get out in the market and keep people, because again, a lot of breweries. I mean, I think the one we're doing this Saturday, there's probably like 50 or 60 breweries going to be there. So it's trying to stay relevant in all this. But we try to go to as many as possible for sure.
So with that being said, you said you already had your stuff overseas. Do you volunteer to go to the brew festivals overseas?
No, well, so when we have sent stuff overseas, it's only been packaged, not draft, because draft is another whole world to send stuff over there. If we had something a little bit more consistent overseas to where we could send draft over and stuff like that, you know, we were told that there are opportunities for festivals over there, but it's nothing on our radar right now. We're just trying to focus more on our home market for now, and then if people approach us with some situations or wanting to bring our beer in, then we'll discuss it then.
Actually, that was a question I forgot about earlier. Mm-hmm. So, like for example, Europe, you know, you're bringing your beer over there, and they're pretty steadfast in their way, what they're used to.
Yes.
Their styles.
Yes.
And I'm just curious to know, you know, how they accept that, and you know,
American beer scene over there is growing for sure.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're known for like lagers and pilsners and that type of stuff. They're more interested in IPAs and sours from the United States, just because they obviously brew that stuff over there, but they're not up to speed as to we are. So when we sent over our first shipment over there, it was all IPAs. I think it was like 4 or 5 SKUs if I recall correctly. Same with Thailand. I mean, same thing. I mean, you go over there, Asia and stuff, it's all lagers and pilsners and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's a little bit more of a difficult sell for that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, when we sent the shipment over to Europe, we kind of figured out what we wanted, and you know, for good or bad, they're big on Untapped over there. So we just brewed a bunch of our most highly rated beers to send over there. It's kind of what they wanted, so that's what we did.
I think it's awesome because, like you said, and you go over to Europe quite. You used to go over to Europe, and you travel other places. America's different.
Yeah.
We have a whole different idea of what beer can be.
Correct.
As the rest of the world is stuck on the original classic styles, that's their tradition. That's where beer started.
Yep.
It's fine. It's good. but us Americans are revolting. We're rebellious in what we want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's cool because you're the first one that has actually mentioned you've been outside the country with your product.
Yeah, I said, Europe. So it was cool seeing, because our distributor over there, when they sent us a report a couple months later and showed us all the countries our beer went to. And it was like all over Scandinavia and Poland and Estonia and Italy and stuff. So it was cool seeing all that stuff pop up. And even when you do get on Untapped and you see a beer getting checked in over in Germany or something, it's a cool. And same thing when we sent the beer over to Thailand too. Yeah. It's kind of the same thing, seeing the beer pop over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I've seen as well in breweries you do have a Setch style lager, like an international style beer. Is it? I believe.
Possibly.
I thought I seen Setch pale lager.
Oh yeah. So Terminal Advent, we just released that. It's our Czech pale lager. So we go through a whole series of lagers. So like in the springs when we release our Maibach, and then Terminal Advent is our Czech pale lager. We actually have a side pool at the brewery too, so that's on the side pool right now. But yeah, we do rotate in style of beers like that for sure. And we usually do those beers one time a year. We have a Czech dark lager that we do as well, which is really good. But yeah, we do some international beers. We just did. We do a beer called Werewolf Death Grip. It's a Kolsch, but it's a dry hop like American Kolsch. But we just did another Kolsch for the first time. We were at the Decibel Magazine Death Metal and Beer Festival in Philly like a month ago. Yeah. And we brewed a Kolsch for so it was a band down in D.C. Darkest Hour came up and we did a collab with them, and then we released it there only. But it was a 2-night festival in Philly. It was pretty cool.
How'd it go over?
Went over really well. We had, I think it was the head brewer from like Three Floyds came over and was telling us how much he loved it. So it was cool. Philly for us is a weird market, but the festival itself was cool. I mean, we're with a lot of good breweries. It was us and like New Trail and Three Floyds.
Philadelphia's a weird market no matter what you're in.
Right.
It is. It's very draft heavy. And my brother-in-law used to live in Philly, so I'd go up there and spend some time up there and sell some beer up there. And I haven't been up there in a bit. I enjoy Philly. I don't know.
They say it's a city of brotherly love, but if you're not a Philly fanatic,
I know
you're not in their love circle.
No, I know. I've always enjoyed my time going up there, though.
I think it's cool with what you guys are doing, and it sounds like the growth has just been astronomical.
We've grown a little bit by little bit every year. I mean, we set our goals every year, and we're on pace to beat last year. But it's just trying to grow in the markets is what it is. Our tap room is so busy that which is a good problem to have. So it's still the distribution side of it is always figuring it out and pivoting. When something doesn't quite go right one month, we got to figure, all right, then what do we do next month to kind of fix that.
So you gotta have a pretty much big production in the back of the house to keep up with the demand of the distribution you guys are doing.
We do. I mean, we go through ebbs and flows. There could be months where we're producing a ton of beer, and then there's like a month or two that sometimes we just take a step back a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the trends we're seeing and the amount of beer we're producing is constant. I mean, we try to do like 6 to 8 turns a week on all of our tanks. Wow. I think last year we did about 2,500 barrels last year, and we're on pace to do about 3,000 this year. So every year we're growing. The first year I was there, we did like 1,900, and then we went up to 2,200, then 2,500. We'll probably hit about 3,000.
What are your future goals? I mean, as you're hitting these landmarks, expansion or just stay on pace for now
stay on pace for now and just kind of see how the market shakes out.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about possibly at some point opening a second tap room somewhere. It wouldn't be production. But yeah, we're going to just kind of see, we're going to let the market kind of dictate what we do for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a couple more beers sitting here. What's the first one we're going to be trying?
Fastball Special. It is 5.8%.
All right. That looks like a Wolverine.
Yes. Yeah. So we've done this beer a couple times. We actually released, this one just came out a couple weeks ago, but we released it last year around the Deadpool movie.
The Deadpool Wolverine movie?
Yeah, so we released it right around the time that came out.
I watched that.
I haven't seen it yet.
I wasn't a big fan of Deadpool, but this one is a little ridiculous.
It's still on my list to watch, so I'll get there at some point.
So is this more like this is like almost like a hazy?
It's like a hybrid, so it's going to be a little bit of a cross between an East Coast, West Coast style IPA, for sure.
So we call it a Midwest.
Midwest.
I think Great Lakes has that cornered.
Nice.
All right. So fastball special. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. It's got a distinct smell to it too. It's nice.
A little bit more danker than the first hazy
Definitely.
that we had.
A lot more hoppier.
Yeah.
A little hoppier, danker. I'd be curious to see what hops are in this.
It's a lot. I have to keep cans on me because I lose track sometimes. Because we never really do any single hop beers. We always do a bunch of different things.
Well, that's what IPAs do. You're using
Yeah.
multiple. Like in the one I brewed, I used Centennial, Cascade, and Citra.
Okay.
So Citra was in the Whirlpool. The other two were part of the boil.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we use multiple ones. Sometimes we do one beer, usually a year, called Mist Slayer. It's a double all Citra IPA that we'll do. But yeah, we're using we've just got into using Hyper Boost in a couple beers.
And there's different hops that keep coming out.
Yeah, we just got sent some experimental hops from our hop distributor, and the hop didn't even have a name yet. Didn't even have a number assigned to it yet. So we tried that in a beer and added some mosaic into it. Drank more of like a West Coast. It was a West Coast pale ale. Turned out really good. But yeah, we're always experimenting with whatever hops and stuff we can get.
Dave loved this one.
I'm making my notes on it.
No, but it is definitely dank.
I used to be. Brett got us into the. What was the one that we had the app on the phone that we were using?
Untapped.
To rank Untapped. I can't remember anything. It's my birthday, so I don't remember anything.
It's my birthday.
I'm not going to sing. We used to get into that and rank all of the beers.
No.
And it's got overwhelming for me, and I don't drink a lot of beer. I mean, I don't understand how Brett kept up with it. He needed a secretary.
I'm low. I mean, I got over 2,000 checked in, but
I just check them in different states.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
What I hit 45 or 6 states there last
yeah,
week.
that's a badge I'll never get.
I saw that badge. I was impressed. Impressed.
We don't need no stinking badges.
No, those no badges. No, the first sip of this last one, I didn't like, but then the second sip, I kind of floated it,
It's different. Yeah.
and I liked it.
Yeah,
You know, I guess maybe it was too dank and.
It's dank. It's
Yeah.
definitely dank. So it's either got Idaho, Mosaic, or what the hell's the other one that really brings a dankness to it?
But what's interesting is each of these beers, like the very first one,
Which was good. It almost tastes similar to what I brewed.
Exactly. But that one flowed fast and then stopped quickly. The second one was like a continuous flow.
Yeah, the second one, that West Coast.
Yeah, that was
I enjoyed that one.
it's
What's your favorite style?
I am definitely more of a New England hazy IPA. I go through ebbs and flows, though. This time of year, I drink a lot more lagers. But I'm also the one who will sit there 90-degree weather and drink a 9% IPA. It doesn't bother me. My range is I love 8%, 8.5%. But this time of year, I kind of mix it up. But I definitely gear towards lagers.
We're the assholes at 90 degrees. We're sitting around a fire drinking a barrel aged.
literally.
I will do that as well.
Here we are.
I will drink a barrel aged stout any time of year.
I know people say there's seasons for beers.
There's
and
not.
For us, it's one beer season, 12 months a year.
I'm the same way. I can drink anything any time of the year. It doesn't matter to me.
And truth be told, I schedule my trips per state. I cover North America.
Okay.
So, I like my stout, so I like going to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're still going to have stout because it's still a little chilly there.
Yep.
So I purposely do that.
I've planned trips out of state. I know my wife and I will go brewery hopping. We'll plan trips just to go to as many breweries as possible.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, we went to Portland, Maine.
Nice.
We went
Good
to
spot.
Asheville before everything happened, and our next trip is we want to do Richmond at some point. But we'll go down there and do the same thing. Just we gear trips around going to
you
breweries.
see-
It's funny you say Richmond because I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No, you're not.
honestly, I am today. It's your birthday, but I actually switched over when I was in Richland because I thought their wines were better,
Oh, really?
better than their beers.
There's, you see some Richmond beers get up here nowadays, but I also know like it's a good location for breweries.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'm the same way. I plan my trips. It's either Weiss or Giant. When you're retired, you do a lot of that type of.
No, wait,
traveling.
you just had a nice
I know.
trip to Arizona,
Yes,
the
I did.
desert.
Yes, I did. Went out to the desert. For
And you
12
didn't.
days.
I bet once you didn't go out to a craft brew house in Arizona.
No, I didn't. And wait a minute. There's
Because you let your wife.
There's a whoa no. No,
Okay, next.
I went out. We went out to Arizona, but it was my wife's cousin who invited us. They said, just you pay for the airfare, come down. You don't pay for anything else because we're going to pick up the tab for everything. And one of the things that I do know that's just that they don't have a lot of they don't make a lot of trips to any bars, so there wasn't none of that. And everywhere we went, we had to go with them. So,
Excuses. Excuses. Now my wife's not a drinker, but she will go with me to the brew house. It's
okay.
like if we go to an area, the first thing I'm doing on the phone is looking craft beer near me.
That's what we do. I mean, my wife's actually the one who got me into craft beer. So when she complains about how much time I'm out and about and doing stuff, I just blame her for it. So, because before I met her, I was definitely Coors Light, Miller Lite, Coors Original.
So she's a beer drinker.
Oh yeah, big time. She so my gateway was Dogfish 60 Minute, and then it kind of spiraled from there. But no, she drinks everything I do, plus she drinks bourbon and everything, and I
Good
don't
for her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those
I
60
like
minutes, those are
her.
nice.
I
Yeah.
don't even know her.
I know, right?
You know?
So when we do plan trips, it's always, whether see my parents down in Florida or out my sister out in Indiana or something like that. We're always saying, all right, where's the closest brewery we can go to? So we're always looking for new beers to go try for sure.
That's the
That's
same
nice.
thing.
So-
I went to Amelia Island, and I think I hit every craft place down there.
Yeah.
And my wife goes along. She drinks water or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sitting there enjoying the beer.
So I see that your one hobby is golfing. Mm-hmm. So last year it was interesting because a lot of our tournaments that we were in, they always had like a little setup of somebody selling off their beer. And do you guys do anything like that? Or?
We've been invited. We were just invited to do one to set up at a hole, I believe. It was like out in Frederick. The timing just didn't work. It was kind of a late response. But that's something we're up for.
I'm hearing it's pretty good. Not like our local golf course down here, Grandview. Now they have pretty good beer on tap. So that I don't know if you can get into there, but
There's a couple of golf courses like down in Montgomery County, Maryland, who have like a permanent line for space jellyfish and stuff like that. So we are on golf courses around.
Perfect.
Yeah. We always thought Mallet or Light Lager would be like a perfect golf cart beer.
That would be a good one.
yeah.
You could run around like that Texas tea guy that's
Yeah.
going around with a golf cart and with your beer.
Yeah, but now that I'm getting back into golf again, I'm definitely gonna check out all the different clubhouses I go to and see if they do craft beer.
Well, if you need to tag along, let me know.
Love it.
I'll drive.
I'd love it.
I noticed your hat, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you like the goat, I guess.
I didn't before he got to us. But that's case no, but he's definitely turned our franchise around. As a Bucks fan, we have one or two good years, and then we are terrible for 15 type thing. So like right now, since 2020, we've won our division 4 years in a row. So I'm in like unprecedented territory here. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop and us to be terrible again.
Right.
Back in the 80s when they used to put bags on their head going to the games.
I mean, that's when I used to live down there. So I'm used to it, and I kind of relish them being bad sometimes, just because then you look forward to the draft and all that kind of stuff. But it's just built into my DNA that we're bad. So like these last 5 years have been pretty incredible.
I was at the baseball stadium about 2 days before the
Oh,
storm.
it's a terrible stadium.
Terrible stadium. I
What do they call that? The Trop?
Tropicana Field.
yeah. Well, it was.
Yeah. And, I mean, they're fixing it now, and the Rays were supposed to get a new stadium down there, but that deals fell through, and hopefully they stay down there. So I don't know what the situation.
I went a
is.
few days in a row, and I don't think there was 50 people at each event.
It's like I tell everybody, they're the Tampa Rays, but getting
Yeah.
to St. Petersburg is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to from Tampa to St. Pete. There's a bridge, and during rush hour, it's terrible.
Yeah, our office is down there. and
Okay,
it's,
so
it's,
you know that it's
yeah.
the traffic down there is awful,
Yeah.
and ideally, like you said, the stadium's terrible, and I think if they get a new stadium that's got like retractable roof, they can have some outdoor games and stuff like that. Before it gets brutally hot down there, then I think we'll do
Seeing
well.
that we don't get paid here, I'm going to rate that as the worst stadium.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. There's a reason why they've been trying to replace it for like 15 years.
Yeah, but they also had a very good run in MLB when Madden was there.
Yeah, I mean they're
have-
they're not big spenders, but
No,
they
but
always
they
do
have-
well.
right.
The
Found a way.
problem they always run into is they develop a lot of farm system players. They come up and play, but then they can't pay them.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like
And then they move
it's like
on.
the Pirates. The Pirates
Yeah.
would develop their
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
these players, and then they don't pay them, so they go somewhere else to make the big
This
bucks.
is a small
Yep.
market team. It's definitely struggle. I mean, they get windows, so the Rays have had their window, but even this year they're I think 2 games under 500 right now.
Yep.
But they still have that chance. So
Yeah.
you just never know.
Not the way Aaron Judge is swinging the bat.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, he's I'm a big baseball fan. I don't watch football a lot, only if it's Penn State, and that's where the gray hair comes from. But I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a baseball fan. And Aaron Judge is right now in unprecedented territory. He is, 436 batting average, and he's on fire.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not going. I don't think it's going to last for another 150 games. But MLB screwed up because they don't promote themselves well enough, like the NFL. The NFL,
Yeah.
what they just had to draft,
Yep.
it outranked the NBA playoffs in viewership.
NFL's king. I
Yeah.
mean, so
It
so
is.
is college football, and I think baseball's biggest problem is like even when they have the playoffs, the games don't start till like after 8:00 at night, and I'm not staying up to watch a game, especially my team, and then kids won't stay up and watch it. I don't know why baseball doesn't do what the NFL does and shift stuff. NFL's got it down to a science.
Hey,
Baseball needs to go.
they have taken over the market when it comes to TV viewership. The
by
NFL's
far.
king.
Oh yeah,
And MLB, NHL, the NBA, the soccer,
yeah.
they don't see what the NFL did.
No,
And it's too late.
too late. No,
You're never
NFL
going to take it back over.
No, in college football, I think their ratings are through the roof
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
So and
Yeah.
I'm not a huge NBA person at all. I'm not a huge. I played ice hockey in high school, but I've kind of fallen out of it a little bit. But yeah, football is year round sport now. I mean, they only play their season from August to whatever, but it's year round. So.
It's screwed. It's
Yeah,
screwed.
Yeah.
And I hate it because I listen to a lot of sports talk radio,
Yeah.
and we're in baseball season, and there's crickets when it comes to talking about baseball. It's a NFL and the NBA, and the problem with the NBA and the NHL is the playoffs last for 3 fucking months.
Yeah.
You go to the end of June. It's like, shit, get this shit over with by May.
Yeah, I think baseball too, being 162 games, it's like
Yeah.
games right now and stuff don't matter as much to where in the NFL you lose one game, it takes a toll on the entire season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I saw you had a Bucks fan. I had to see if
Yeah.
you were a GOAT fan.
I'm a fan of when they had Brad Johnson and Sean King and all
yeah.
that, Steve DeBerg and all these players, Doug Williams. So I've seen it all. So when we got Brady, I didn't know what to make of it because he was 41, 42, something like that. But he did great, obviously.
He could probably still play for half the NFL teams that are out
Probably
there
so.
looking for a quarterback.
Probably so.
Pittsburgh.
There's a good bit of them.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
isn't Pittsburgh looking for a quarterback? Not
sure.
Cleveland. They have what? Cleveland has what?
Like
5 on.
They got about 5 or 6.
They got a lot right
They
now.
got one that they shouldn't even be paying, but they're paying him top dollar to go
Sit there,
away.
yeah.
Well, isn't he sitting this year because he can't play?
He
right?
sat since they signed that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're paying him, but I don't know. With the like you said, Pittsburgh. I don't know this last guy, the quarterback for Ohio State won the championship.
Will Howard.
Will Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have him.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have Will Howard.
They got him in like the 6th round. this
Sixth
year,
round.
something like that. Yeah.
And he looks surprisingly well as a quarterback. He looks like he's big, and he's like he looks like he's going to give Reindeer.
I mean, he was good because I'm a West Virginia fan. I went
Yeah.
to WVU, so Will Howard played for Kansas State for a year or two.
Right.
So I've
Before he
seen
moved to Ohio State.
yeah.
Before he got NIL money.
Yeah.
NIL screwed the college.
Don't
program.
start don't start me on that. I mean, that's one of the sour points of college football. But it's still he what I'm looking at is the fact that we're looking at Mason Rudolph as
As your starter,
a starting quarterback.
Didn't they get rid of him last year?
They got rid of him.
Yeah.
No, they got rid of him
I can't
twice.
even keep up with it.
Yeah,
Twice.
they
They got rid of him twice, and,
Yeah.
and the thing of it is, they brought him back, and in the year that they went where they rented 2 quarterbacks, that was a disaster. I thought that was the worst thing they could have done. But now they have, if they keep their heads screwed on straight, and Ben Roethlisberger agrees with me. I can't believe that. But anyway,
Did you actually talk to him?
briefly. But,
I thought you were supposed to have him on our show.
Well-
in the beginning, it's like season 2, maybe.
don't rub that in. Anyway, the thing of it is if they keep their heads screwed on straight and develop this guy, he may be good for them. He may be, and quit running out and finding old retired has been Aaron Rodgers quarterback that Aaron Rodgers won't do them any good if they get him on the team.
Aren't they signing him?
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're trying.
They're trying to sign him. I think he doesn't know what he's doing. It's like when it was like when he had COVID. He didn't know he had it, and he didn't want to believe he had it.
Yep.
And he told everybody he didn't have it, and he really had it. Yeah,
Because he was on a Hiawatha retreat.
Yeah, that's right.
A dark
Yeah.
retreat.
exactly. Why would you bring that kind of bullshit onto your team?
He's a strain. Well, that's what they're saying is when the Jets first got
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, like there's that training camp. And instead of mandatory training camp, he's going to Egypt. So instead of building rapport with your team,
That's why he left Green Bay.
And when the Bucs got Tom Brady during COVID, like he was running illegal practices with all the players.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between the two.
Wait, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Oh, okay, Brett.
It's going to be like the movie The Replacements. They're going to call Aaron Rodgers. He's going to come off his houseboat, and he's going to become running into the stadium as the savior for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
You think he's really going to save him?
No.
No, he's not going to save anybody.
He's going to be running into that stadium with a little Hiawatha hanging out of it.
That's the worst. After the debacle last year with renting the 2 quarterbacks that we had, absolutely, they were so impressive that they kept them around, right?
Yeah.
But going through that debacle that we went to do it again, to willingly go out and rent another quarterback that is going to be around maybe for a year.
Yeah.
How long did he stay with the Jets? He was with the Jets for in minutes of the first game he played. He was gone.
Yep.
So, you don't need that.
We bitch about not having viewership, but somebody catches wind of this, we may go fucking viral.
Oh god.
We may be able to get Ben Roethlisberger on here or Aaron Rodgers. Anyways,
Get back on topic.
back on topic. Chris,
Yes.
future goals for you personally, the Nepenthe Brewing. What would you like to see happen?
Just keep growing the brand. I mean, I think that's the end of it. It's just seeing us grow every year. That's every brewery's goal. But yeah, just to keep our brand going. Make sure we're noticed and we're out there. Just to keep growing year in year out. Even if it's only a couple hundred barrels a year, at least it's something. So we're fortunate that we're one of the few breweries in the state who are actually growing. And I don't see any letdown in that. Especially with the way the tap room is rolling as well. So,
And even though I have it listed above us and stuff, and you'll be able to see it in the comments, tell us where they can find Nepenthe Brewing. Physically, online.
It's NepentheBrewingCo.com. We are in the Hamden neighborhood of Baltimore, so kind of near. If you're familiar with Hamden, we're kind of near. We're right down the street from Union Brewing. Peabody Heights is right there. Johns Hopkins University is right there. So it's a very small, eclectic type part of Baltimore. So we're not downtown. We're right there on Falls Road. But yeah, I mean we're kind of right off of 83.
Okay. Tap room hours. Do they do anything special with the tap room? I know a lot of these breweries do different things to create a buzz to get people in your door?
So we'll do so every night, or I think it's like every Wednesday or something. We'll do trivia. We have a dart league, food specials that are changing every week or two. Happy hour prices. We're closed on Mondays. We don't open for lunch. Hamden's just not the area to open for lunch. Saturdays, noon to 11 now, I think, on Saturday, and noon to, I want to say 9 or 10 on Sunday.
That's pretty late for a Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it is. So we used to, maybe we're only open until 9 on Sunday. We just changed our hours up.
Well, we're also coming into the summer.
Yeah, we're coming to summer. Supposedly it's supposed to be our slow time of the year. But like I said last night, we were cranking. They weren't expecting it last night.
We're going to have to hit
Well,
this.
it was also, we got a lot of rain up here in the New York area.
Yeah, we got hit pretty hard last night. We actually went there last night for dinner with some friends, and the lights started flickering here or there when the thunderstorm rolled through, and it downpoured for a good 15, 20 minutes for sure.
So I think it's great. We're going to have another beer to get out of here with, but Ben, any comments?
Honestly,
Any more questions?
I have no questions, no comments. This has been an awesome time to get to know Nepenthe.
Nepenthe.
Yeah. And just to know the artwork behind it. That is pretty cool. That they are video gamers. You guys love the whole Marvel industry.
Yeah.
And you guys are expanding with artists out there to create these beer label cans. And that's what honestly attracts me when I look at beers and when I'm out shopping. Is the artwork. Yeah, our artwork definitely stands out for sure. People know us for sure when they see us on the shelf. But yeah, I mean, we sell prints of them at the brewery and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, our artwork is consistent and it's great. Some of the stuff he comes up with is fantastic.
How did you get hooked up with a tattoo artist in Ohio?
So our owner.
Sorry, Kev. If you think it, fucking say it.
Well, I wanted to wait my turn.
Oh.
That's all right.
So
That's all right.
our owner Brian has known him. He's got tattoos from him, so he's got a full. So they developed that relationship right even before the tap room opened, and then so ever since then we have him do all of our artwork for us. So
all right. So you got any more questions since I just stole your thunder?
No. I'll just leave it at A. Thank you. B. That's another excuse that we got to hit a baseball game.
Come on down.
And visit.
Yeah.
I'm a fat ball guy. I love food.
Yeah.
Definitely love the beer.
Yeah. I just we were there last night. I had one of our specials was a fondue burger. So it's like a bacon double cheeseburger, and then they cut it in half and they put it on the plate and just a bowl of cheese.
Like Cheese Whiz?
No, like actual homemade fondue cheese. Oh. Yeah.
Because I like Cheese Whiz. That's liquid gold. My wife hates it because it's plastic cheese. But
yeah. I like Cheese Whiz. No, but our chef pretty much makes everything in house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we found that out when we had some of our guests. So they talk about their food and their chef, and it's like, well, we'll go there and find out. Oh, it's freaking phenomenal food. And I found out with these the food's fantastic.
Yeah,
at a lot of places.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, some places better than their beer.
Yeah,
which is true. I mean, no. But I know.
But that pulls the people in.
Pulls people in, and we can cater to people who don't necessarily like beer because we've got the wine and cocktail drinks. So whenever we do we'll do special trivia. We just do one for like Orioles and stuff like that. But then our bar manager will do a cocktail around whatever trivia we're doing. We did one, I think last year with we did Taylor Swift trivia or something like that. So we'll have drinks made up for that, or or whatever specials we kind of do. Sure. They fly,
A sweaty Swifty.
Yeah, sweaty Swifty.
See, there's how quickly that shit is.
There's a drink, sweaty Swifty.
I actually went to that. I brought my daughter to that because she was 13, 14 at the time.
So you went to a Swift concert?
No, the trivia. No. I was going to pay that money to go see Taylor Swift.
I was going to say
no.
Well, in Maryland, they make a little bit more than we do in Pennsylvania here.
No, I don't think she came to Maryland. So, no.
Oh, my Dave.
Yes.
Comments, questions before I steal your thunder.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the comment about the sweaty Swifty.
Sweaty Swifty.
Yeah, the trivia question that is funny. Like that's a pretty good idea. Having a theme on your
we definitely do that, and they can bring in big crowds. I know when we did the Taylor Swift one, we had to turn people away because it was the tap room was absolutely jam packed with people. So Some of them don't always hit, but most of them do. And we do our weekly trivia, and it's I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. But from we open at 5, and the trivia starts at 7. So right around 6:30, you see the crowd just come in, and then the kitchen and the bar gets slammed, and
Nice.
then
People are out there drinking and trying to scream.
Yeah.
I never asked this question, but I always kind of wondered. You always have your normal crew, say whatever, 20%, 40%, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever measure that? On your guests, your like for us, if we come down there for the first time, is there?
I don't know if they do or not. Honestly, I don't spend. I'm there during the day, so I'm not usually there in the evenings.
Yeah.
But even when the few chances I go in maybe once or twice a month, I'll go there and actually hang out. And I do see a lot of the regulars, but I see a lot of people too that I just don't know.
Because I go back here and I'm stuck on this, Liquid Hero. I love their beer, and now that how they've advanced to their new location, it's night and day. And how you keep your locals happy.
Yeah.
But more importantly, how do you bring in the new crowds?
Continue to grow the business.
And it's so important.
The more they see our beer out in distribution, they try it at a restaurant or something, then they try our beer, and then they got a tap room, so let's go check out the tap room type thing. So I think we do get a lot of new people for sure. Every time we go out and do festivals and like that, we always make a point that we've got a restaurant. A lot of people just think of us as just a brewery, and they don't necessarily know everything about us. That we've got award-winning food there and beer and a full cocktail program. So.
Interesting.
We get a lot of people that way too. So we do get a good amount of out of towners who come in as well. So we have a lot of people from New York come down because a lot of people commute between New York and Baltimore, which is why I kind of consider us like a local brewery for here.
We didn't step that far over the line.
No.
From Central PA.
No, not at all. I mean, we're like I said, we're close enough to here to where it takes me a short amount of time to come up here than if I were to go out to Frederick or Hagerstown or something, or even down to DC.
You're close enough to here, but too far to drive if you got a few beers.
Yes. Even though it is a straight shot right down 83.
I don't know if I want to take that chance with a buzz.
Yeah,
Chris, this has been fantastic getting to know Nepenthe.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
I was ecstatic that we got to introduce by Vicky from Brewery Products.
Yeah.
And then more importantly, you said, well, no shit, I'll just come in studio because we have more fun when it's in person.
I would rather do this than, I'm behind my computer all the time. So I'd rather come out and sit down with you and talk and have you sample the beers. Yeah.
I got that vibe from you when you're like, because you're the outside sales guy. You're out there creating the relationships, spreading the product, spreading the word. Are you an Orioles fan?
No.
Okay, thank God.
I when the Orioles do well, our taproom and stuff does really well. It's the same thing. Like I'm not a Ravens fan at all, but when they were in the playoffs and we opened for the playoffs, we were like packed.
The one and done game.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Hey now.
But no, so we've actually got
a lot of those.
We actually got our beer in the Camden Yards this year too. So,
that's cool.
So we were there opening day. So in that regards, yes, I love the Orioles. So, but no,
I don't understand what happened last year. They had a team
they didn't pay
that
for
competed,
pitching.
and they let Corbin. The hell's his last name? They left him walk.
Burns.
Yeah, Corbin Burns. They left him walk,
and then all the
fans now they're back at the bottom of the freaking American.
All the fans
League
had high hopes too because it's new ownership. Finally, they got rid of Angelos, and everybody was saying you need pitching. You need pitching. They didn't do any pitching, and now they're in
Same
last
with
place.
the Yankees. That's the Yankees' problem. They needed pitching. They went and got Max Fried, and guess who's on the disabled list for the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Derek Cole.
Yeah.
So, Garrett Cole.
Yeah. So I always enjoy when Baltimore teams do well because
it helps you guys.
It helps us. So, but yeah, the Orioles don't bother me at all. I'm not a diehard baseball fan like I am football. So I go to Orioles games quite a bit. I'm actually going to one in a couple weeks against the Nationals.
I like baseball. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I love baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I'll travel. There was a time probably about 20 years ago. I was in Chicago on a business trip, and the timing just happened to be perfect that we were there for enough time that we hit Wrigley, Comiskey, and then drove up to Milwaukee for a game too.
So
we hit all
favorite
three.
stadium, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So we were actually up there. I've got pictures, but we were up there when the new stadium was being built, and that crane fell.
When the crane fell.
So we were up there like a day after that happened, so you could still see the crane like dangling there. Yeah.
That's That's the field I'm in, precast.
That's why the crane fell. No.
Wow.
Oh man.
On that note,
You have no problem throwing anybody under the bus. Do
hell
you?
no, and backing it up again
That's okay.
because I'm used to it for people doing it to me, so I don't give a shit. Chris,
Anyways,
it's been great. So tell us about our last beer. This is another.
So it's
IPA?
like 8.1% double alpaca fracas. It's a beer we do once a year normally. Last year for our anniversary, we did the triple version of this. But this one was a smaller batch. We only did a 10-barrel batch, but some of it just got sent up to Pennsylvania.
Alpaca
weeks
fracas.
ago?
Where the hell did that name come from?
Honestly, I don't know.
They look
It was
like
before my
zombies.
time there. So this beer was out before I.
So it's
before I
been
got
a
there.
while.
It's been a while, yeah.
So this is a double.
It's a double. Yep.
All right, Chris. I thank you very much.
Thank you guys for having me. I
For
appreciate
joining
it.
us on the Central
Yeah.
PA Pour. So if you're out there, we're going to raise a glass with Chris Lehner from the Nepenthe Brewing
go.
Company out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Sir.
Ben, Kevin, Dave, and myself, and the CPP crew.
Awesome.
And let's all be bonded by beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you guys. Cheers.